Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Paul Verderosa and Andy Sterling as we get into day 2 of the week, and we're one day away from turf racing returning, an 8-race card to get into today.
I'm looking forward to turf racing coming back.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not. I was hoping we just never get back on the turf.
No, come on.
No, really.
Listen, you didn't have enough of me after yesterday. I'm shocked.
Well, I may have or may not. I don't
I'll
know.
never know the true answer to that question.
Ask me the question. I mean, we want to discuss it here in the air. We can, but
I don't know. I thought we were fine.
But you're looking forward to turf racing.
I'm looking forward.
Paul's looking forward to turf racing. I don't know about you guys, but Paul is looking forward to turf racing. I'm looking forward to you heading over to Naira Bets. Use the promo code Derby25. You get a special promo up through the Derby. You get a free $25 bet along with a $200 sign-up bonus. Derby25 is the promo code. Head over to NairaBets.com and join up. You can check out track stats when you're over there. Yeah, there they are, track stats. What else do we have today, Eddie? I wasn't really listening. I was trying to figure out Phrasal today, and I'm not doing very well. You bet 75 each today on all of 3 tracks, Aqueduct, Oaklawn, which will be on America's Day at the Race, along with Keeneland as they're closing out to the meet. There are only 6 racing days left at Keeneland, $25 win or lose. You bet 75 at each track or more. Opt in over at Naira Bets. We've got, betting we've got a cross-country Big 5. We do, look at that. 2 at Aqueduct, 7 and 8, 7, 8, 9 at Oaklawn. All those races will be on America's Day at the Races, 1 to 6 on FS2. You're on late, Paul, I believe.
Yes.
I am on early. All right. Race numero uno. What did you do in race number 1?
I guess it's a question of the drop downs against the horses already run for this level, and I'm going to take a shot with the 4 in here, fully knowing that the 4 and the 6s were my jam. I thought the 6 could wire the field, but
your jam?
Yeah, my
you
jam.
have a jam here?
Yeah, I have a jam. Yeah, I vibe.
Okay.
I'm a vibe.
Okay.
I have to be experienced.
Well, as far as I can tell, 4 of the 6 horses are dropping from
Yeah.
maiden special to maiden claimer.
So I guess the question is, which dropper do you want? Do you want the one with speed on the outside, or do you want to take a shot with?
I don't know. You're the one who's bringing up the question.
So
I'm give us the answer.
I'm going to take a shot with the 4 in here.
Okay.
Cuts back slightly, drops. Just wish this horse could break, because this horse just hasn't gotten out of the gate the first 2 starts.
That is a problem.
So I'm hoping for a little bit of a better break. I thought the first race, despite the fact that the horse got off really slow and into stride, still made up some ground in that race. So I'm just hoping with a slight bit of a cutback and maybe a better break today, this horse will be prominent in here.
It's very clear, based on their races, that it's only 2 horses that have shown anything in here, and they're the 4 and 6. I prefer the 6, who improved enough off of the return race, coming back off a longer layoff. I didn't think, kind of broke well and sort of, I don't know what was going on, kind of in and out, and just maybe didn't get the best of rides in there. And I appreciate the switch to Jose Gomez, though I'm still trying to figure out what Jose was thinking in the 7th race yesterday. But I think it's a good switch. This horse is more forward, and as you say, the 4 has trouble getting out of the gate. If somebody else wins, it's probably a bit of an upset in this race. I see the 5 is taking some money now. I don't expect that to continue. I imagine the 6 will be favored, and the 4 will be second choice by post time.
Yeah, I
They're
agree.
the 2 that have any form whatsoever. Race number 2. You've got 2 horses remaining coming out of the same race. She's a Little Edgy winning and Remains Anonymous finishing second. This is 2 back for She's a Little Edgy, and actually 2 back for Remain Anonymous. Remain Anonymous was not close to She's a Little Edgy last time. Show this replay because Mersal was in there as well, but she's not going to play today. Maybe their connections found this race too hard for her. They're the 2 logical. She's a Little Edgy, just the horse to beat. I picked against her, but I'm not against her.
I have her on top. I scratched into her because I did take Mersal, but I just feel like she's going to get the same trip she got in here, and if she's good enough to hold her speed, she's logical to win this race in here. I mean, you wonder if, Remain Anonymous chaser probably will chase her again. You wonder if a horse like Bank on Anna is going to have a little bit more speed, facing better fields. Yeah, she should be right off of her. So I just felt like it was logical in here, and then like you, I liked a little bit of Jackie the Joker too.
Well, we'll get to her in a little while, but feel free to tell us why you like Jackie the Joker.
Last race I thought was a really strange run race. The horse was up close early and then just kind of weirdly backed up a little bit too, and then kind of ran even a little bit after that. I do think if we have some pressing of the pace in here, at least this horse does draw inside and might be able to close a little bit.
Well, we're not going to have any pressing of the pace. She's not that far off it, so I don't really worry about that. She got just a horrifically bad ride last time out. That was a day where you had to be on the lead to win, and she made this absurd 5 or 6 wide middle move in the race, and probably would have been second with a more professional ride in there. her race 2 back is concerned. She's obviously not going to be able to win based on that race. But I thought her race 3 back was good enough to give her a chance here, and she'd be a bit of a price. And I really didn't want to take the 4. She's a little edgy. It seems so moto. Frankly, I think the main competition for her is the 1A. I just can't pick entries on top. And if there wasn't an entry and I could just bet Bank on Anna and get a slightly better price, I would take her in here. The Cantermachis are on a massive run. Now, they obviously have the entry. I think she's a very interesting horse coming off the claim, a horse who has good back form, and to make her logical in there. I just can't pick entries, and I really didn't feel like picking the 4 on top. And Jackie the Joker was the victim of a preposterous ride last time out, and her race 3 back gives her a chance. She'll be a price, so I put her on top as a price play, but I'm mostly between her and the 1A. The 4 is the worst to beat, but I'm inclined to try to let her beat me and beat her with the 1A in here. I just can't pick entries on top. They're just horrendous, and it's preposterous in 2024 that the Gaming Commission hasn't allowed us to get rid of entries. They're bad for the players, and the Gaming Commission should be looking out for the players' best interests, and we need to get rid of entries. The sooner the better. Race number 3, speaking of entries, another entry that becomes problematic in here, where if you like one half of the entry, fine, but I'm not taking an entry because they're just going to be terrible value. Both can win. We should be allowed to decide which one we want to bet on.
No, I agree with you. I think I would most certainly remember the name out of the 2, and you know.
But there's going to be some people like Stormquist. Why shouldn't they be allowed to bet that one at a much better price?
Exactly.
You know, we've all been around the game a long time, and we lose a lot more frequently than we win. We want to be able to win with the horses we like and not have to get the price deflated by another horse in the entry. It is preposterous that we continue to run into this problem, and most jurisdictions have gotten rid of entries long, long ago.
Yeah, and have gotten away from them.
It's just ridiculous. So anyway, you've got the new face on top, Dylan's Ruby. We'll take a look at the debut race down at Parks where he won, and I'll let you talk about him.
I mean, this was a nice run. It made easy work of that group. I mean, again, there wasn't much that was behind this horse, but made it look easy. Subsequently, ran into a horse, Bucciarino, who kind of freaked and put up that 81 buyer. You know, saved ground in there and was the only horse at the end to run a little bit. I like seeing this horse up here. They could have ran down there in a different spot. Bring the horse up here in this spot, and I think that this
What about him do you like?
What do you mean?
Well, what about him do you like?
I think he fits well in here. I think he's going to sit a nice trip in here. I think he ran well. I think his debut was perfectly fine. The pace was fast last time out, and
when you say he sits a good trip, in what way? What does that mean?
Well, I think he's going to sit off a horse like Hurt on the Street, and if Mad Banker has any pace, or in a minute as well. So I think he's going to get a nice stalking trip in here.
Okay. I don't see that. I see him as sort of behind a fairly moderate pace. I mean, I don't think he's going to have a bad trip, but I'm just trying to figure out what it is that you really like about him, because he is the morning line favorite. Is he just better than these horses, do you think?
I think he's, I picked him on top. I think he's going to be better than them in here.
Okay.
I think he's going to report.
I'm just waiting.
No.
Saying I think a horse is going to get a good trip is such a nebulous concept. Why is he going to get a good trip? What's going to happen that's going to give him a good trip in here? Are the 3 horses battling for the lead? Are there 2 and he's sitting 3rd? Yep. Saying a horse is going to get a good trip, it doesn't define anything. It just says, I can say that about anybody. Why is he getting a good trip?
I think he's going to get the same trip like he got in his debut. He's going to sit off whatever speed is in here, make one run, and close and go by them. I thought his debut was good enough to run well against this group, and even second time out.
Okay, I think he's a fairly logical horse in this race. I'm not quite sure of the quality of the races he's coming from. I guess the figures are fair in there. He was down on the inside. A lot of people are going to see rail trip at Parks and assume the rail was bad. The rail wasn't bad those days. He has gotten absolutely perfect trips in both of his races, and there's really no way of knowing exactly what kind of trip he's going to get in here. It doesn't project to be a particularly fast pace, which I don't think is going to necessarily hurt him a lot, but I don't think it's going to particularly help him. I don't want to take him as the likely favorite as a new face in the group, because I think there are a number in here that have run better races than he's run. I mean, one question you have to ask yourself is, what do you do with a horse like this in a minute, who was running buyer figures that were demonstratively lower, and then suddenly runs a 77 buyer last time out? If you believe this figure at face value, isn't he the horse to beat? Now, I haven't picked him at all. Did you pick him anywhere?
I have him 4th in here.
So you don't believe this race either, because I don't believe it.
No, I just think Collected Special kind of freaked on a rail that was decent that day, and maybe the numbers inflated in that race.
Okay, but that's that's flawed reasoning. If you think collected special, this horse didn't freak on a rail. This horse was second in there.
No, I'm talking about in a minute, but I'm saying I don't believe the number.
Well,
that
but
race-
what about the
second best-
number that In a Minute ran? Because he got the 77, collected got an 80.
Yeah. No, I don't believe either number.
Okay, because, I mean, the third horse did come back, I think, and actually, I mean, it's not that good. I have trouble believing at face value. I haven't got any confirmation one way or another. I think the rail was fairly good, but I thought the track was fast. I don't believe that these performances were enhanced by any kind of bias. I just have trouble believing that number. But on the other hand, if he's 7-2 off a big figure, if he runs anywhere close to that figure, he's going to beat Dillon's Ruby. Wouldn't you agree with that? You see Dillon's Ruby running better than a 77?
I'm not sure In a Minute's going to run a 77 again, though. This is what
Right.
So, I mean, even if he runs a 71, I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see it again to believe it.
I agree, but he did run a big figure last time, and I'm not sure exactly what to do with him either as a result of that. I don't have a big problem with him. I can't pick the entry. I didn't think Retail Man was really good enough. As far as Mad Banker, now he has a big figure 2 back, and it's a muddy, sealed track, and it's completely out of line with his other races. On the other hand, he finished a nose behind Brick Ambush, who's actually pretty good and is a contender in a very contentious second race on Sunday's card. And then he ran into just a field that he just can't beat in his next start, and he was wide there. The rail was good. I don't think it was a huge advantage, but I kind of want to give him another chance. I don't want to take the 3 at a super short price. I don't believe in the 4 running back that figure. I can't pick the entry. So now I'm kind of left with the 2, 4, and 6. Well, the 6 is silly. I mean, the 6 was on a big speed track last time. Yeah. I don't see how he's going to run that race. I will say one thing. Retail Man didn't run that badly last time, but that race is an aberration for him. His other races are way too slow, and at least Mad Banker was getting better, ran a reasonable race 2 back, wet track or not, and then he ran against just much better last time, so I'll give him a chance.
Yeah, I have him third. He's far from impossible. He gets Lasix back today, too, and he ran that good race on Lasix for the first time, too. So.
All right. See what happens in race number 3. Race number 4, it's our daily race where we had 8 entered and 7 betting interests, and people came out for a variety of reasons, and if I gave them on the air, you'd probably throw up. I mean, this race was just completely and totally eviscerated, and, you know, you enter your horses in races, you sign a pact. It's a pact, and if you don't honor it, you're hurting the game. And I think it's a problem with what happened in this race, to be honest with you. Having said that, you have Tetsu on top. Did you have Tetsu? Was he your 5th pick in here, or did you?
No, I had him on top from the start. I think he's had excuses in his last 3 races. If you go back to February 9th, he got wired by C's Got Degrees, just off the rail in there, and then you go back to February 19th, and Speed played well that day. Lost the Roman Cup. They went 1-2 around the track. So, and he had no shot last time either against a biased track there. And I know, listen, it's been since July of 2022 since he's won, but with excuses in his last 3, he does have back races that can make him a part of this, but now the field's completely kind of decimated a little bit too. So I liked him a little bit better when everything was full. And
well, I think that everybody sort of feels that way. It's a race now that was completely ruined for a variety of reasons that are extremely unfortunate. I get it. He's going to have to reproduce that form for former trainers. He's an ex-David Jacobson horse that had a quick race in Rick Dutro's barn, and I agree with you. I mean, I can't argue with anything you said. You're right. But I just wonder how much you can trust this horse going forward. That's my concern. But he could win this race. I mean, I scratched into Beachwalker. I probably would have changed it to 7-1 because at least Jake Rocks showed a little bit of interest last time for the first time in a long, long time, and maybe I would have put him on top. I'm not a fan of Ryan's Cat, who was able to win when he had everything his own way, but he could be the main speed in this race. Beachwalker's just been running against much better horses, but he's also going to be about 3-5 or 2-5 in this race, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure.
And scratches.
You know, it's
yeah, he's going to be like
crazy
favorite.
Yeah,
and I would never bet him, but he is dropping, and he's been running against much better horses.
Yeah, and I have a soft spot for Jake Rocks too. When he got good last year, I was a big fan.
Yeah,
so
I mean, and at least he ran a little bit for the first time last time, right? He finally showed up with a little bit.
Yeah, showed some interest for sure.
Yeah, no, so maybe he can find his way back into form. See what happens. That's the first 4. We'll get to the late pick 4 after a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. I think we got a little more meat on the bones in some of these races coming up in the late pick four, including the fifth race. And, you know, I got to tell you, I get it with play. I just can't go. I just can't do it again. But go ahead. He's the horse to beat.
No, he's the horse to beat. He's logical on the drop. He's run the fastest races. I just wonder, well, 2 starts back, he was part of that contested pace. But I just wonder, last time out off the layoff, wasn't that day where the track kind of got funky, where it kind of changed?
Well,
like,
the track was
throughout the day?
changing, but
you know,
but
it was
I
like
don't.
speed early and, you know, closers
So what?
kind of late.
What?
I mean, but Magic Express
He was
ran
running
really
against
good
much
that
better
day.
horses
Yeah.
last time. Doesn't matter what the track was doing.
You know, Magic Express ran really good that day too. It's just logical on the drop. Last place horse came back to win at Laurel with a 6-point higher buyer, so a 6-point less buyer, I should say. But I don't know. He's just logical from the inside and going to show some speed in here. And I just had enough of Don Vino Vici, to be honest.
Well,
So,
I don't like
yeah,
Don Vino Vici. We'll get to him in a second. I think play is the horse to beat in here. I mean, that's not. He's going to be even money in here. So I just don't. I've just had it. I've lost money on him. I've picked him. Linda's gotten sick of him. She's dropping him down. It's like she's had enough. He's the horse to beat, but I'm not going to pick him and pay $4 in here. As far as Don Vino Vici, he should have won last time. I get that. The thing is, he didn't run the best race. The horse that got DQ'd ran the best race. Unfortunately, had a rider that decided to hit him left-handed at the end for no good reason and get him disqualified, and rightfully disqualified. But having said that, there was a lot that went on. Having said that, he still should have won the race. My problem is, I think this is a sucko race that he's coming out of.
Yeah.
I just don't think this is a very good race. Now, he's between horses here, and he's going to get squeezed late. He had a little trouble early in the race, so he had legitimate excuses in here, but the horse that's in front that gets rightfully DQ'd, costing me a fortune, there's the foolishness will happen here. Now, I don't know if he was going by or not. I don't think he was. It happened so late, but he was steady. I just don't like the race he's coming out of.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the race he was coming out of, and I honestly don't think he was going to go by and win that race
No,
either.
he wasn't.
I just don't think he was either, and I just feel like, you know, even 2 back, I know Gum Island was a drop down, but he got off slow again in there, and he just kind of...
He did run best.
Yeah.
I mean, Gum Island sucked up the rail to
Right.
beat him. He was
No, no.
unlucky to lose 2 back.
But
He was.
It's just, I feel like, I don't know, I've seen enough. Now he goes first off the claim. I was not a fan, and now he's cutting back to 6.5.
Why do you care about the 6.5?
I just couldn't take him because I just feel like he's going to be even a little further back. I think.
Well, he
today.
wasn't far back at 7 furlongs, 2 back.
But I don't know.
I'm not a fan of this.
Yeah, I just went elsewhere. The race I didn't think was great, and I don't think he was winning last time.
Yeah, I mean, I won't be shocked if he wins. I don't really want him. I think there's a couple of interesting horses. One of them is Polish Up, who I'm dying to make a joke about. I don't think the rail was the place to be that day at Monmouth, though my friend Steve, you never got back to me on that. But looking up the charts that day, I think there's a chance the rail wasn't good. And I don't think his race was that bad. It was slow. I give him a chance. I didn't want to put him on top. I think the 6 is very interesting in here.
Yeah.
It's a private purchase since his last race, switching to Eddie Barker. I'm a big fan of Eddie's overall. He's where it's worth 1 for 8 on trainer switches with 3 hitting the board, but a positive ROI. Look at he's not a synthetic horse. He's not a distance horse. If he could find a way to get back to the races 4 and 5 back, his last dirt sprints, he's running figures that are fast enough to win. I think he has a real chance going to Eddie Barker's barn to maybe take that step forward. So I'm going to give him a shot. He's going to be a bit of a price because the 1's going to be justifiably so a heavy favorite. Yeah. If Don Vino Vici beats me, he beats me. I'll have a tiny 5-6 just in case, but I'm going to try to get better go home for my man Eddie Barker.
Yeah, no, I have him third in here. The sprint races are good enough in here with any even slight bit of improvement. And listen, I know he's not a distance horse, but even that race, it was a contested pace that went to closers, and he's just not a distance horse. So he ran well in that race.
Yeah, I'll give him a chance in here at a reasonable price. Thought it was an interesting race. Well, the seventh race may not, or the sixth race may not be on the really interesting race level, because one of the reasons that Principe d'Oro is likely to win are the presence of these as his two main contenders.
Yeah.
One of them is Ice Road, we'll start with. Ice Road may be as big a refusenik as I've seen since Jacques Hu. He simply has no interest in passing.
No, and it's funny, too, because I'm sure, you know, the winner of this race who did all the dirty work and there was happy to see Ice Road coming and Gun Maestro being a part of the race, too, because they're both camera shy and don't want to win.
I mean, this is some pathetic head job.
This was bad, and it's hard to take this horse, and after the favorite that's in here, I put him second in here because I just figure he's going to run second in here, but he's just not a good horse. It does not want to
Well,
win.
he's not a bad horse.
I mean, not from a win perspective.
He doesn't want to win. He's
yeah,
okay.
I want to rephrase that
He's
from a win perspective.
He just seems to hit that wall when he gets to horses. And then there's Very Funny. And my friend Jordan Wyckoff, who claimed him, has made some very, very good claims, including Sound Money, who's been doing so well this year. This one isn't one of them. And we'll take a look at his last race as well, Very Funny. He was even money. It wasn't a very strong field. I don't know, maybe Mike Maker's going to perform a miracle with this horse, but I mean, Linda had him and couldn't get him to run any better than he ran for Dave Donk, maybe worse than some of the races he ran. How can you take this horse?
I just have a hard time taking him, even going the mile. I mean, you look at the race that he ran in a mile. I mean, Refuah finally got a win in that race, and it wasn't like that horse was a world.
That's the worst figure he's ever run. No, you're right.
So I mean, I just kind of have a problem with this horse, and I just feel like that this horse is a closing sprinter, and they usually don't traditionally do well going the mile. So
well, we have evidence he didn't do well going a mile,
So
and it's hard to trust Principe d'Oro, who completely lost his form. But at least he lost his form against horses that are relative grade one performers compared to who he's in with today.
Yeah, much better. And, you know, I just kind of feel like, too, in his case, maybe he just didn't care for the off-going, too, on top
Well,
of
then why would
everything
Linda
else.
drop him in for a quarter?
I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe, too, just looking for a winner, looking to get out, too, with this horse. But
I think because she doesn't feel like he can run that well anymore.
yeah, I mean, but against this group, he should, if he's got anything in the tank,
He's
he should
supposed to
win the race.
beat these
He's supposed to
horses,
beat these
and I think he's going to be 3-5 and not 7-5. I cannot believe people are going to really fall for Very Funny anymore.
Yeah,
and the one just doesn't win.
yeah, no, I agree.
Race number 7. So race number 7, I'm trying to remember, is this the first or second horse? No. One horse came back out of this last race and ran 7 Beyer points worse, but one came back and ran 1 Beyer point worse. I'm just wondering how much we can rely on the 85 Beyer this horse ran last time. And I'm picking against Clubhouse over the weekend as well, or maybe it's NB's Money I'm picking against.
Yeah.
Having said that, we'll take a look at the race, because if he runs this race, he's going to be very tough to beat. I just don't buy it.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at him, obviously the last race clearly makes him playable. The question is, what do you do with it? He's drawn outside the other speeds in this race, so I guess that helps him, but
Better than being inside of him.
yeah, I just don't know if he can replicate that race against this group. And, you know, if you go even...
Well, where'd it come from? He runs an 85 Beyer after running a 63, 59, 69, and 52, and the 69 was under the best circumstances possible.
Yeah.
So he ran last time, and I don't trust that as a predictable number going forward. I think it's probably 10 points lower, 8 points lower, which still makes him possible in here. But I think he's going to be bet based on that figure, though David has him 4-1.
Yeah, it's hard to take him at that, and it may be shorter than that. I don't know, but it's hard to take him off that figure and that price.
Well, I mean, it's easy to take him off that figure. It's just hard to take it. It's a little difficult to love it. But I will say one thing: the Cantermachi barn is on fire. Look at the race that horse ran yesterday.
Yes,
so I wouldn't be surprised if this horse does run a reasonable facsimile of that number. And if he does, the horse that I have second, you have on top, isn't going to beat him. Though I do agree with you that Prince of Truth is very dangerous here. We'll look at his last race. You can talk about him.
So going the mile off of the layoff last time, he was involved in that pace, and he was on the rail, and he was inside. I'm not sure you wanted to be down in there on that day. I don't sure it was the best part of the track to be on. Cutting back today in distance, I thought his sprint races, when you even go back 3 and 4 starts back, were good enough to get the job done in here. I think on the cutback and now having gone that mile, I think he's going to be tough in here. provided you don't have Messi the Magician run the race he ran last time out.
Yeah, I like him with less distance. I don't disagree with you. I think it's fairly obvious. How good he really is, I don't know. That's part of the problem. And, you know, Horse Be With You is the one who was the speed. Now, he did come back and win at a ridiculous overlay in his last race. I do think he's dangerous. I didn't really feel like picking the same horse as you, and I was kind of between the 2 and 6. So I went to Warolo, and I don't think that Warolo is going to be favored here. That TV got very dark, the one I was trying to look at.
Yeah.
We don't have our monitor
Yeah.
here for some reason. And I don't know that I would like Barolo, frankly, as the favorite in this race. I thought he might not get bet as much off it because of his last race. Now, his last race was one of those races where it feels like he never got a clear path to run at, and he may have just given up at the end. He also may be a horse that's freaking out on sealed tracks because he's got 2 big figures lately, and they're both on sealed tracks. And that's why I didn't think he'd be favored in here, and I would never bet him as the favorite in this race. But he did run fast races in there, and I think he can be forward in here. I kind of think that Bourbon's Hopes runs a little bit over, and we'll see how much speed Messi Mission shows. And he may stalk him, and he may just put him in the ground. And like I said, I wouldn't bet him at 5-2. I'd rather bet Prince of Truth at a better price. I kind of hoped he'd be a little better price off his last race. But if he maybe just had some trouble getting caught behind horses with no clean path to run, I didn't really love anybody else in here is my problem. And I mean, Fortune's Nephew appears to not be able to run anymore. And Starquist is a little bit interesting, but Kimmel has horrendous layoff numbers.
Yeah.
250 plus layoffs in the dirt. He's 0 for 10. He's 0 for 5 in sprints in those situations. He's a new gelding, but he is a horse, Starquist, that always showed a little bit of ability, and he could improve off the layoff, but it's a long, long layoff.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and usually those Kimmel horses, they do need to start to get themselves back into racing for him. I mean, the sprint that he ran, the optional claimer they ran in January, I mean, Don't Lose Cruz wired him in there, but he's shown some potential younger. We'll see what happens this year
No,
when he
he's
comes back.
had some talent, but we'll see if he can be ready off the layoff in here. We'll see what the prices are as well. But I think we somewhat agree on this race in general.
Yeah.
Race number 8, going a mile. We'll take a look at Watch Hill, who I think is the horse to beat second. He's just getting some class relief. These are easier horses than the ones he's been facing.
Yeah, he's run better races than most in here, and there's no killers in here. And his typical effort that he puts in, like we're seeing here, that might just be good enough to get the job done. And I mean, Friday I'm in Love was a heavy favorite in this race. So I have no knocks against him. I just thought that this race you could go like 3 or 4 different ways and try and find the better price out of them.
All right, what do you like about I'm Just?
The works have been steady. He doesn't really need to improve much to get to this group. I thought
Which works in here haven't been steady?
No, I mean they've been okay too, steady and okay too. The blinkers
You've
come
seen
off.
them?
He's a new gelding.
You've been doing a little private clocking?
Yeah, talking to him.
Okay.
Go down and talk to him. But Christoph's numbers that I had grabbed was 6 for 19 with a
What's the statistic that he's 6 for 19?
6 for 19, 312 RA, 180 day plus layoffs in dirt routes the last 5 years.
Okay.
So that's what I had taken off. And I figured against this group, get a second time for a tag, going the mile. I just want to give this horse a shot. And I think this horse is not going to be the favorite here. I think this horse will be like 4 or 5 to 1. So I'll take a shot.
Yeah, Christoph does have. I looked up 6 to 12 month layups. He's 5 for 12 in routes on the dirt with a 3.35 ROI, 2 for 3 in maidens in there. This horse though does have to improve. I mean, this horse's recent races on the dirt are a disaster. His first 2 races he got good enough figures, but his form had eluded him since then.
Yeah, I mean, the sloppy track, I'm not sure I want to hold that much against
What
him.
about his last race?
His last race was not good, but then the claim got voided. He was laid off, so maybe something went a little bit wrong in there. But his first 2 starts are good enough in here against.
Oh, no,
yeah.
his first 2 starts
His first 2.
make him a contender
Yeah.
in here. I don't disagree. It's why I have him second. I see those things, and I saw Christoph's numbers. I have lost money in Irie Man in his last couple races, but the difference between today and the last time is the post. He finally draws an outside post. And I think it's important to take a look at his last race because he would have won last time if he hadn't drawn the rail. And it's fairly obvious when you see the star of the race because you're right there, you can sort of see him duck in, and he takes himself out of the race, and he's already about 4 lengths off the pace. I think we're going to take a look at the head-on of the start, and you're going to actually see what happens. And if he hadn't had the rail, I don't think any of this happens. He's just not a horse, and the 2 horse comes in badly, and he gets herded off of that and drops in badly. So it wasn't as much him doing it as another horse forcing it to happen. And after that, I mean, obviously wasn't winning. Arco Augusta, who finished 3rd in there, did finish ahead of him, but Arco Augusta had sort of a better trip in that situation. and Dylan Davis is not riding him back. And now, with Ironman finally drawing towards the outside, I've got to take him with an outside post. My one concern is I don't know if he's necessarily good enough, because Watch Hill is better than him, and if I'm Just comes back and Christophe has those good numbers and runs back to his better races, they might be a little faster than him, but he'll be a bit of a price. I'm waiting for an outside post position. I am a little worried, though. This field is a bit tougher for him than the ones he'd been running in.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a little bit tougher, but at least he did finish off the last race where he could have just packed it in and stood at the back of the pack, too. He did come with that late run in there. So it could be a step in the right direction for him and maybe improve off of that. And with an outside draw today, I thought this race was a little, you can go a few different ways in here and try and find a price you like.
Okay, I'm 3 4s and 9s. So you're excited about turf racing. Who do you like in the Dangers?
The Dangers?
The Dangers Hour.
Dangers
Hour, according to somebody close to us.
The Dangers Hour.
The famous Dangers Hour.
The famous Dangers Hour. 1986 winner of the...
I remember Dangers Hour.
I think, listen, Spirit of St. Louis is going to be the favorite in there. And
oh, that's right. You said yesterday he was way the horse to beat.
He was way the horse to beat in there. The funny part of that is, though, with the draw he has and the way the race dynamics play out, I would think he's going to be either just a length or two off the pace. I think the race should set up for him in there. My problem is...
Really?
The thing is, a short price...
I think there's much more pace in the race than there was when he was in...
I think the question you have to ask yourself, though, with Spirit of St. Louis is do you want it... How short of a price do you want to take on this horse against Open Company, despite the success he's had and going 4 for 5 and doing...
Is it one of the main horses you have to beat in New York bred as well?
Yes.
So, yeah. No, we're looking forward to turf racing getting back. Paul's really looking forward to getting
I'm going to walk the turf course.
Very,
after the
very
day.
exciting.
Make sure it's all set. Make sure
That's
everything
really
is
nice
good.
of you, really. Did you help take the tarps off?
No, that I did not. Let's not get carried away.
It's a big job. If it's windy out,
yeah.
it's an impossible job. Well, there's like, I think there might be more than, there's more than 500 total tarps, individual tarps on that. People don't think, that they're just in these
they
pieces.
think it's just a piece.
I think it's hard for us to imagine sort of looking at them, how big they are. Anyway, we're done. Thank you, Paul. We'll see you again next week. You need to head over to Naira Bets. You need to head to Naira Bets. Use the promo code Derby25, and we not only will match you with $200 of your initial deposit, we will give you a $25 free bet on the Kentucky Derby. I got a lot of stuff here, Paul. Oh, I accidentally took up tomorrow's videos. We have, track stats. Head to check track stats out when you're over at Naira Bets as well. We also have a bonus. Bet 75 or more, opt in for this, at Aqueduct, Keeneland, and Oaklawn. The Double Dog Dare is a fun stake today at Keeneland. Cilia is making her second start back from Mott, and Raging Sea is returning for her 4-year-old debut as well. I think they're the 2 favorites in there, I'm not sure. Oaklawn, of course, will be showing on America's Day at the races, along with Aqueduct. 75 or more on each, and you get $25 back. That Cross Country Big Five, and I know Paul's very excited about the Cross Country Big Five. You can't really tell looking at him, but I can tell. I can see beneath the surface a lot of excitement about the Cross Country Big Five. 7 and 8 here, sandwiched among 7, 8, 9 at Oaklawn, and they'll all be on America's Day at the races 1 to 6. Paul, I'll be on until 3:30. Paul will come on after me from 3:30 to 6 with various members of the group, and we have a full team, thankfully, a full team at Oaklawn.
Yeah.
So mostly we'll be spending time sleeping on the desk upstairs while they're carrying on the heavy work.
They'll do the heavy lifting today.
They can do it all as far as I'm concerned. We're done. Chris Griffin's just getting started. He's up next to reprise Scratch and Changes. Have a great day.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.